I'm so excited for tonight. I actually had a few more recipes that were coming in and I took them out because there's a lot to share with you. So we'll have a lot more fun lives coming, but I will be talking about that. I wanted to first start off, and I have done this before. My favorite, Marcella Hazan, has a 3-ingredient red sauce. For pasta, I tell you guys, I used to slave over it and work days on my sauces, and this sauce is so simple, and it only takes 45 minutes to cook. So I'm gonna share that with you because truly, to make a very quick Italian dinner and you need a quick red sauce that tastes phenomenal, this is where we begin. So all you need to do, and I've actually have mine cooking behind me, and I'll be pulling that out in just a minute. I'm going to share with you 2 things about this. I'm not always name brandy, and I believe me, I buy the Kirkland red, sauces and things like that. But there is a major difference when you guys do get a can of tomatoes. The Cento and the Muti are probably my 2 favorite. I did link them on my Amazon because I had to go to the grocery store. We were out, and I paid twice the amount in my grocery store today for this little can. So on Amazon, they're about $3.50, somewhere around there, and I paid $6 today for these little guys. So they are a little more expensive, but you're only going to be using 1 28-ounce can, so you're only going to be using 1 can. Either of these 2 brands are absolutely fantastic. The San Marzino tomato is what you want to look for when you get this. I did peeled whole tomatoes. Doesn't matter if you do crushed or if you just want to do the sauce. And believe me, you can just do this, and I have done this, with just regular tomato sauce, and it tastes really good. There is a bump up difference though when you do use these 2 brands, so I do want to share that with you for sure. The other thing that is, I think I probably talk about this every live, is my Kerrygold butter. You will be adding 1 28-ounce can of tomato sauce, or peeled tomatoes, whatever kind of suits you, doesn't really matter. 5 tablespoons of butter. And I do believe in Kerrygold. Regular butter's fine, but 5 tablespoons of butter goes in there. And then what you do is you have, oh, come on over, hi. Oh my gosh, I got so much pasta. You will absolutely I need some people eating over here. I would love to see you. And then you're gonna cut up a whole, or an onion. Red, white, I've used all kinds. I've used the sweet onions. I do taste a slight difference. I probably prefer the red onion, but I tend to prefer red onions as a whole. So I just stick usually with red onions, but if you have a regular onion on, don't worry about it. Just make sure when you cut this in half that you leave your 2 ends out of your onion, because you are dumping this whole 2 half of an onion into this pan. So just make sure your 2 ends are out, and you're just gonna cut this in half this way. Kerrygold. Might be my little Chicago in there, Josepha. That is all you do. And you put that into a stock pot. 45 minutes later, you have absolutely the best red sauce that you could imagine having. Purely wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start off with that recipe. When you are taking your pastas, I used to drain my pasta a lot and put it in the sink. Your water is so important, and I found out more and more as I kept doing this through the years, how important that water is. It's going to do a couple different things for us. One, it's going to change the noodle, and you'll hear that a little bit more in my other recipe, why it's important to throw that into my garlic mixture that I'm going to have before I add my pasta into there. So what I do now, and I'm just going to come back here, and I'm hoping all my pasta, sorry to turn my back to you guys, I'm hoping all my pasta turns out. I just cooked it right before you guys all joined. I don't usually let it sit, but it's only been sitting for about 5 minutes, so we're pretty good. When you go, let me grab I usually love to, and this I still do on my cooktop, so I'm just reversing it over here with you guys. A skillet or any pan that you have. I'm actually start my prep work for almost all my recipes in my skillet, then I add my noodles. So all my work's usually done first, and then I go and add my noodles. I know I'm repeating that, but I found I used to have too many pans and too much stuff going on, and it just made my life more miserable. So what I'm gonna do is show you my Kerrygold and Marcella Hazan sauce that she did. I'm sorry, I switched what I was doing, so I'm gonna be off here for just a second. So again, this sauce has been cooking for only 45 minutes, and it is absolutely fantastic. I could have started it in this pan, and you're gonna see how I do with my pink shirt on, switching it over to this pan. But normally, I would have started my sauce in this pan. And what I wanna tell you, you'll see me pull out the 2½ onions. Probably the biggest debate on the internet when it comes to this sauce is people debating whether to eat this onion or not. I do not keep the onion when it comes to making my sauce, but I definitely use it for later. So I'm just gonna pull out my 2½ onions. And I actually, what I usually will do is I throw that into another stock pot of mine when I go in to make like a broth or something like that, because it's absolutely fantastic. Some people actually put this and leave it in the sauce, and people like to eat the onions. It's up to you guys what you want to do, but I do not. So let's see how I do with my pink shirt, moving this over. So you are gonna see this absolutely, and Bo, if you were coming over, you'd be smelling this right now. Absolutely fantastic sauce. I then go into my pasta, knowing that my pasta water is going to help with this sauce as I move this over. I don't worry about it being like this full drain, I'm gonna use my tongs actually, this full drain of the pasta water. Because if I need to, depending if I was off a little bit on so I just throw the pasta immediately right into this pan. If some water gets in there, I totally love that it does. And I want to make sure too that you guys are salting your pasta water. It's really, really important. So make sure you salt your pasta water before you cook. I'm gonna turn this on, and I hope it's not too loud. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit here and turn your pasta with your sauce in here. And this is a skillet that I actually would take out to my table and serve this meal in. So I'm gonna give this a few minutes to just cook through. The noodles being hot is gonna absorb all that sauce that you have going. And I'm gonna just work this through. But the main thing, I will tell you my foremost, absolute most, if you can even do a couple of these, will change. I don't care if you buy things at the store, you do takeout, you're cooking yourself, or anything like that. I still add these ingredients when I go in and finish any of my pastas. So we're gonna talk about those right now. So I'm just gonna turn this down just a little bit. Number one thing, Parmesan cheese. Fresh grated Parmesan cheese absolutely changes a meal. By nothing else to me is better than fresh grated cheese. I have done, like at Kirkland or even in the grocery stores, they have it where it's like freshly grated. If you know it's freshly grated or within reason, it's absolutely fine. And I usually keep maybe one of those in the refrigerator if I have to. But on a whole, I always have fresh Parmesan cheese. Even though I'm going to add it to my pasta right now, I still bring out my Parmesan cheese grinder to the table, and people can add as much more as they want. It is absolutely fabulous. So I just take my grater. I've given this just a few minutes to kind of all marry together. And again, I would have started my sauce in this pan and just would have added my pasta noodles. So you would have been, this would have been one skillet meal. No Kraft Parmesan, none at all. That would be a bad thing in this house. So I'm going to actually turn this down to low now. Or actually, I'll turn it off. Your pasta has married to your sauce now. So I am like getting ready for dinner. And I will sit here and I will grate. And this will cool down. Did it go up? There we go. Sorry, I'm used to using my gas oven behind me. So I am going to absolutely top this with fresh Parmesan cheese. And we like Parmesan cheese, so it's going to be a lot on here. And like I said, what I do is I actually just put this on a white plate, extra Parmesan, and my grater. And that actually comes to the table. What am I using? This is what is this called? This is simply Ming's, but it's like a hot plate. So I have several of these if I'm entertaining quite a bit. And it's like an extra oven that you can use, or stovetop that you can use for things. So I just have it for extras when I need it. That's what I'm using. So I just layered this with tons of Parmesan cheese. The other thing I love is fresh herbs. This little guy I bought today at $2 at the grocery store. It is something, I grow a lot here, but not everybody has the opportunity to grow herbs. Herbs in the grocery store every week, if you could just pick up, they're like $1, $2. I love to just put it in a cute little white thing because I use so much of it. This is fabulous. And it does fresh herbs at any time, whether it's parsley, I don't know if you can see my parsley. So I have parsley here, or if you like your basil or cilantro or anything like that. Adding fresh herbs to your meal will absolutely, people will want, it just has this unknown difference than the dry herbs. So there is a huge difference of using fresh herbs. So I've layered all my Parmesan cheese in here. I'm now going to take my basil, and I'm going to take that right on top. And usually I take the very top of my basil, and I lay that in the middle of my skillet. The other really important things that are, I know, Josepha, you're growing your own herbs. I'm so proud of you. If you can grow them, it's absolutely fabulous. Even if it's a small pot or in your kitchen or anything like that. But like I said, $1 or $2 at the grocery store to get fresh herbs, and just know that's part of your normal routine. It's not that expensive, but it will change how you're cooking for that week, and how your flavors will just be so much more enhanced. Absolutely, truly, I firmly believe in fresh herbs whenever possible. So between that, fresh Parmesan. Now, the other thing that I do love, and it is always a quiet moment in your meal. I don't add a lot. It is not that I am adding lemon flavor to this, because this is my beautiful spaghetti sauce. I don't want a lemon taste in there, but I want a happiness perk. And that to me is what lemon zest does. It just creates this pop into your sauces, and I absolutely will do it. So I always have a grater. Just make sure that when you are zesting a lemon, that you don't go farther to where it's white. So you really are just taking the very, very top of your lemon off. And like I said, this is so little, and I just will sprinkle a teeny bit into my dish. I'm done. So I would have been done in 45 minutes, just because my sauce would have been 45 minutes long going in. But by the time I probably threw in some fresh bread, started my noodles, you are basically done within 45 minutes. Your dinner's wonderful, fabulous, and on the table. And like I said, I come right out onto the table with this skillet, and I'm gonna see if I can hold this up for you guys. But this is probably the most favorite meal we make. So the Marcella Hazan sauce, I do have it on the link, and I have it on my website, but it's so simple, and it's 3 ingredients, and it is absolutely fabulous. So, so easy and so quick. Like I said, I used to slave over my sauces. With this one, I don't. And these are things you usually will have in your pantry. So if there was a last minute meal, this is probably a very quick, other than 20 minutes, but you can have an absolute fabulous meal on the table. But again, fresh herbs, a little bit of lemon zest, fresh Parmesan cheese, and my other, as you guys hear me every live, which I'm pretty sure is a really good balsamic vinegar is absolutely vital. There are differences. We've talked about them. I'm not going to talk too much into it. This just happens to be my absolute favorite. But do invest in a really good balsamic vinegar. So there's our first dish that we are done.